Greetings, girls, and welcome back to another episode of Starfleet Command. Orion Pirates Mod. I'm Captain Tirek of the heavy battle cruiser, the Bailiff, as we continue our campaign against all of neutral space out there. And last time, well, the Bailiff got a little bit dented, but we've managed to do a fairly decent amount of good work over on the planet of 24-6. A little bit of denting on the ship, however, so we are going to return back in order to give it a bit of a repair and resupply, and then we'll go right back into see if we can't siege out the planet. We have the firepower to do so. We just need, well, the time and the effort, and we'll use both of those to eventually crush and conquer our enemies entirely. So full-on restock up there. Could go on a monster or distress call. I think I'm just going to focus on the planet itself and see if we can immediately begin a planetary assault. They pay out well, they're fairly fun, and they happen to have an actual objective and an interesting backdrop, all depending on the actual danger of the target. Red alert and overload all weapon systems, except of course for the PPD. We don't need that kind of range restriction on this boat. And we'll slowly get ourselves up to our combat cruise speed of like 12. Anyway, we're being escorted today by the GCS Serpenticon and the GCS Eradicator, a CS and a CM, so a medium cruiser and a strike cruiser. It is a PLPH and a CS strike cruiser off in there in the distance. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see at least one more vessel show up over here. I think we would be in range to see somebody who showed up over there, although showing up over there is not super common, we have noticed. So we're just going to cruise on into range, and yeah, we're just about up to full speed. It's a speed of 11, by the way, is our charge speed, in case anybody was actually wondering. That looks much larger than a medium cruiser. It is indeed a dreadnought. We are currently staring down the barrel of a DN, just standard type, so we should probably focus on one of them. You're going to be kind of rough to actually kill. You should actually be rather easy to clean up, should I just put in enough amount of firepower. So that will be the plan. We will set ourselves up for just a continual bombardment and hopefully be able to hold it long enough range. We may end up also trying to contribute a pseudo-torpedo in order to get this guy to screw up and actually attempt to defend against it. And if he does so, well, then our little buddy over here in the medium cruiser, it could come in quite handy in blasting him with everything he's actually got. We are going to need a little bit of time on that in order to figure that out. He's got 2 S's, 2 F's. Not terrible. Not going to kill him in one shot, but not terrible at all. Let us continue our cruise. We are looking for our distance of 15? Well, 15 would be ideal, but 20 because he's rocking plasma. Sort of a break point for our plasma torpedo, or not a plasma torpedoes, for our PPD. So prepare. We're at the range of 30, which actually would be a pretty interesting shot to take, but no, I'm going to wait for 20, and we're going to start preparing our out leg. And 22, 21, 20, lock them up. 2 misses. More misses. Wow, really bad luck on the PPD on that one. Fire a pseudo torpedo out the port side. We're going to see if we can't just score. That's a much bigger plasma torpedo than I was anticipating. At least he crashed top to do it. Our defense is not actually ready on this one, so I'm just going to see how badly I can outrun it, because we're about to get tapped by a fairly big blast. And there goes aft shields entirely. Luckily for us, the CS has managed to kill all of his momentum entirely. Unluckily, the Eradicator is not in a good position to follow this up. He will not be facing the target by the time he actually gets up to a high enough speed for that to matter. I'm going to start slowing down a little bit so that we can come in and sort of assist shooting at the hurl. Oh, never mind. He's just going to go for full suicidal maximum blast. And that managed to do quite a bit of damage. Our plasma torpedoes are actually ready to go, so I'm going to dump you, and I'm on my way out. And we'll dump a mine, just to be safe, because this guy's going to be packing a lot of plasma as well, and I don't want to touch it. Our Wild Weasel is ready. Wait for it. Wait for it. Now. And speed! Oh, the R still managed to hit us. So the angle did not go quite in my favor. Now we are going to be break past over the top of this guy, which means Dreadnought will have passed us by, but we're going to have to really keep working on getting used to the new plasma dynamic of not just being able to duck into a cloak and murdering everybody. Especially because this guy's way closer than I kind of want him to be. Is my acceleration's on? There we go. Open up a hole in him. In fact, I'm going to slow down the speed of time just for a moment so I can plan and or ponder. First things first, I'm going to cancel that and then I'm going to activate that. So why did I cancel? Because he's about to have a whole bunch of firepower. And there goes my forward shields again. That's what I was waiting for. A little bit more, a little bit more. Ah, we're bombing him as much as we're bombing ourselves. Right, I can't afford to take this much more. He's a dreadnought and I'm not. Send in the Marines, please. Oh, clever jerk. Okay, we got to get off of this thing because right now he is causing a ton of damage. Knocked out both of my PPDs, so we are in a little bit of pain. Thank you for finally letting me go, you jerk. Has one of them... How is the Hurl not dead? I have been basically tanking this entire dreadnought, and it took you that long to kill him. Let's see if we can actually get away. That'll be the real question. I'm just going to ignore the rest of the normal weapons fire. We're going to start just fixing up a couple of the phaser arrays, and we just got to get some distance. He is still repairing his plasma R torpedo. I actually need to come over here and make sure that I cancel this hit and run raid, because that's... Oh, good. It already canceled, because that'll get us killed. But yeah, we're just going to build in our distance now. Just accelerate and let the CS and the CM take care of things. We have a Wild Weasel ready to rock and roll, but that's probably not going to be used by us anytime soon. And there's a long-range shot that's more than useless. At least he has a hole in his shields that'll allow them to hopefully take advantage of things, but it's going to take them a little while to actually get there. We're going to increase the speed of time because there's no point in not. May as well spend a little bit of moments. So he's used up another Wild Weasel, and we're going to continue to operate on the edge until we get a lot more repairs going on here. Just going to keep the range nice and wide. He is still plinking through and managing to deal some damage to me, but he's lost most of his plasma torpedoes, which will be very helpful once we decide if we want to re-engage. But yes, all repair, continue to operate. I have a lot of fixing to do before I kind of want to move into the PPDs. I prepare a port side plasma torpedo. We're going to come in for a bit of a run on this one, and hopefully he won't be too close. Good. 3, 2, 1, and that's range. I'm out. Did that. I could have risked it, but I wasn't willing to. It was a fake. Okay. So that's better safe than sorry on that one, and it's worth the shuttle. So now we're just going to, I suppose, slowly skulk back on into the target. We have a lot of repairs still to get done. Could patch up a couple of ancillary systems, but I suppose we'll just hold and wait it while we sort of drift on into range of the planet. But yeah, taking on dreadnoughts in this thing is not exactly as reliable as we remember taking on dreadnoughts in other battle cruisers, or just heavy cruisers, I suppose. The Romulans had it much, much easier. Alright, so we're charging several of our systems, just going to make sure that we're not going too fast. First of all, we need both PPDs ready to rock and roll by the time we actually make it to the planet. And second of all, we need quite a bit of forward defense to happen before we actually get within range of the planet. Otherwise, it'll kill us, and that would be rather unpleasant. Here's, of course, this medium cruiser heading in behind us, the Serpenticon, going to follow up in our footsteps, or perhaps probably get out ahead of us. How long until that second PPD is ready to go? Oh, we're almost there. So that'll give back our primary armament, but I think we may need to buy escorts. But the problem with buying escorts is then the enemy gets escorts, and plasma duels with escorts are dangerous as all heck. If we weren't going after the Gorn and the Romulans, I might think differently, but for right now, not feeling super confident about it. Alright, start to slow down. Bring us to... Oh shoot, we are way too close. Yeah, that's not good. I gotta get some distance on in here. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna increase speed. Port side plasma torpedo, and I'm just gonna start leaving. Right. We got way too close. Was not paying enough attention to that, and now we're in actually quite a bit of trouble. As you can see, our aft shield is down, but not to worry. Pretty soon I'm going to be able to turn around and provide my forward shields once we're at an appropriate range. Okay, good. I'll stop. I feel much safer here. So this ought to keep me reasonably intact. So we'll continue the repairs, and I need to go maximum electronic countermeasure just in order to make sure that I can actually get accurate fire down on the target. We'll wait until that fully fills up so I have the free capability to do so. I also need to set up my plasma torpedoes to envelop. Oh, they already are on envelopment. Good, they didn't shut off from enveloping. And we also need to update the damage screen. Alright, time for the PPDs. Let's get some damaging in there. Plasma torpedoes as well. In fact, 2 plus this, and we'll just continually barrage them with all the firepower we got. It's going to take a little while, take a little work, but once we get it done, well, there'll be no planet anymore. I can't say that with a straight face, actually. There will be a planet. We will own it. It's kind of difficult to just remove entire planets from the equation. I have tried before, in case you were wondering, by just firing for probably about 20 minutes into a planet with enveloping plasma torpedoes, and unfortunately, there was no actual way to destroy the planet, which would have been rather hilarious to me. Continuing the plasma barrage, a little bit staggered, not quite the massive alpha strike, but on some ways that prevents them from being able to repair their shields too much. And get the PPD back on in there, and it looks like we're starting to punch on through. So if the 2 Gorn ships with all their plasma torpedoes would likely actually get involved in the combat, that'd be great. It's probably going to take them a little while to actually or to get that done. So once another plasma torpedo barrage about to come up, or staggered barrage at any rate, going to actually coincide pretty closely with the PPD strike, so that'll be nice. PPDs first, plasma next, and wait for the next one to cycle on through. And we're dealing 8 damage, apparently. Wow, that's really weird to me. 7 damage. We're dealing almost no damage. We gotta get a little bit closer. I'm going to see if I can't get just a little bit closer into range so that we can actually do a little bit more actual damage to the target. Because he doesn't have any shields anymore, so the fact that he's doing 8 is telling me that he's doing less than a point of damage per side. Or a little bit more? Yeah, slightly more than a point of damage per side. Because it's 6 sides, and this plasma torpedo should be doing 60 damage, so that reduction is rather huge. Yeah, 7 damage. That is just terrible. But the PBDs, at least on the other hand, are being incredibly reliable. So going 24 at this point, so that's 4 per side now. So continue to close the range to eventually a point where we'll be able to just overwhelm them with sheer bloody firepower. That is going to take a little while. Yeah, I don't want to get much closer than this, just because I'm sort of passing within the range where he's going to think that firing there we go. We're firing plasma torpedoes is a good idea. We kind of don't want that. We're also going to make sure we come in. We're going to shut off the point defense system. That way we don't have to worry about super light plasma torpedoes coming in and causing damage to us. We'll just let the forward shield tank it, because it should be able to handle it. Now, if the AI was smart and they combined that plasma strike with a whole bunch of phaser force, they might actually be able to cause some pretty significant damage. However, we've managed to wipe out most of the defenses with just that last barrage right there. Took them down to well below half. We've got another S-type plasma torpedo about to come cycling up on this one, and another one away. I'm actually going to start closing the distance because I imagine that's taking up most of his stuff. Another enveloping plasma torpedo doing 40 damage. Oh, no, these are S's. Okay, so somewhere along the line, 20 damage got removed. Sending the probe. Probe tells us basically everything's dead. So now we're just wiping out the last of the Marines so we can steal this entire show. Only 3 Marines left, so we just need a little bit more light fire on it, and I imagine the phasers might actually do it before I get another plasma torpedo onto target, but yep, there they did. So now it's just going to be a matter of sort of system keeping, making sure that their plasma torpedo, or their, whatchamacallit, their phaser force never actually come back online. Send in the Marines, please. Thank you. All stop so we don't run into the planet. And fire all the plasma. 59 damage, so they are continuing to bring their shields back to at least some level. Just fire phasers. May as well, but we have it finally taken care of. The planet belongs to us. Or at least it's about to, as soon as our Marines finish conquering, well, everybody else on the planet. But yeah, managed to succeed on that one, but again, a little bit more damage than I'm otherwise comfortable with. I kind of wanted to do, well, just not take that much damage. Really feels kind of painful actually having to fight through that. But with any luck, that's not going to persist. I may end up buying a screen anyway. I really don't want to buy a screen, but I think I may not have much of a choice in the near future. We're at 2686. What is the next level of ship? We're in a CAY already. And 2178, that's the CAY still. A whole bunch of flagship cruisers. CVS, in case you needed to go down to your local store. And yeah, it's interesting, but 8 fighters is not worth losing the 2 plasma torpedoes, I don't think. Maybe they are. Sufficiently good fighters would actually be pretty powerful. The thing about ISC, or in this case Cardassian fighters, is that they don't actually have any sort of like heavy weapon. They're all phaser boats, which is interesting from the standpoint of how long they will last. Oh, didn't want to go there, but hey. But it is a bit of a letdown in the sheer amount of firepower. Okay, we might be running into that glitch again where we're having problems actually causing Empire defense damage onto a location. Anyway, we're being escorted today by the Lunis Duo, a KVL, a fairly... Okay, I can't finish that. Fairly powerful. No, it's a vulture. A King Vulture, but still just a vulture. So we're going to prepare all of our weapon systems for maximal combat. Plasma Torpedo 3, enveloping 4, enveloping 2 to normal mode, of course, and prepare the Wheeled Weasel. Because if we don't have that, it's going to suck quite a bit, the amount of damage we'll take. It's far more than what I'll end up wanting to actually receive. Speed up to our charging speed of, well, 10 actually, because we are preparing a Wild Weasel. And I may want to launch just another another probe off in the distance to see what they're actually coming up with. Is it just you? Because if so, that might make life a little bit easier. But if not, then this could run for a little while. Nope, it's just you. Okay, that makes my life a little bit easier. Paraplasma as torpedoes is still pretty nasty to have to deal with, so we're going to start to increase the speed. We're not going to get as close as we did last time. Probably going to fire from a distance of about 25, which is really going to do some nasty things to my targeting systems. Don't have a whole heck of a lot of choice. Let's go 2 points of ECCM just in order to get this under control. A little bit of light phaser fire coming to my forward shields, but that'll be okay for now. And we're about to pull within the range of what I'm about to shoot at him. Empire defense is, or attack defense is down. Okay, 1 accurate. Alright, so we only missed the 1, which is good. However, the accuracy was not amazing. I'm going to fire out a pseudo-plasma torpedo as we continue our parting move. And maybe this will influence him to crash stop before he actually gets within range of me. Although if I were him, I might make that shot. Well, maybe not. It's quite the longish range shots, but he did attempt to stop on that one, so we will be able to pull back out into range. If we were packing a full-on fleet, what I would do right now is I would just run right on into him and use one of my heavy cruisers to sort of tank the damage. Unfortunately, I'm not willing to risk that much. So we did do another little cycle out, which is lovely, and I'm going to prepare a starboard side plasma torpedo. We're going to do another little bit of a donut on this one as we're going to lob plasma his way, depending on which direction he decides he ends up wanting to go. Never mind, he's fighting someone else. So if he's going to lob one plasma torpedo, come on, shoot the second. There's the second. All right, so we're free to go in at will. Plasma R torpedo has been launched already, and that one should actually make it to him. I don't think I want to launch my plasma S's just yet because they're not quite nearly as long range as that, but look at that. Right on through, 20 damage despite that, and my PPDs are about to be recycled for another good shot. And another R-type plasma torpedo. Oh, he's about to be in the center of his own little sun. Yeah, badly damaged, I think. Yep, we took out a shuttle bay, and he's pretty much dead. His speed has started dropping pretty severely, and he's at point-blank range with the Lunas Duo, who basically point-blank range shanked him with that one. So I think we can get him with just a single phaser barrage, and that'll tear him apart. Lovely. So fairly easy pickoff on that one. And we have 2 sensitive decoys ready. We didn't actually need them, so this one was far better executed, although, to be fair, the target that we were attacking was not exactly well defended. Who are we currently squaring off against? It is a Gorn Fleet Repair Dock, and the Gorn Fleet Repair Docks are equipped with plasma torpedoes, so that will be somewhat unpleasant to deal with, especially because it's just going to be irritating. So we're going to do a fairly similar strategy than what we were doing with the Romulans. It's just going to take a little while longer, since we're not particularly great at siege operations. Well, we do a fairly nice amount of damage just sort of sieging people out, but it's not going to be super pleasant. We are going to, however, come into the defensive screen and shut off the point defense phasers. It's not going to help us. We may as well have the defense. Alright, so that's a long-range shot that can't actually touch us, so we're just going to continue to fly on forward. Didn't even touch, and the forward shield is starting to get turbocharged. Prepare the PPD if you don't mind, please. So what I could do is just try and PPD the shuttle that's going to drop out. So, slow down even more, get me just outside of range. And that's as close as we ever need to get. I'll wait for his plasma torpedo to fire, which I imagine will be soon. Because, yep, that's what I'm waiting for. Bounce it off the shields, fire a pseudo plasma torpedo. Here we are, and it's dead. And fire all of our plasma torpedoes. As you can see, not a whole heck of a lot of damage was done. It is somewhat difficult to get enough damage down onto the target, but if we can get our phasers in, we can do quite a good amount of work on this one. Just going to keep up the fire as best as I can. I'm not going to reset the PPDs because the PPDs might actually be able to shoot in time before his plasma torpedoes come back, and we might be able to shut that thing down. It was not to be, and this is going to suck. Forward shield took a pretty nasty hit on that one, but we should be okay. Continued phaser barrage. It's not taking out anything to do with that phaser or that plasma, but that takes it down. Lovely. How close or far, I suppose, as the case may be, is the Lunas Duo? And the answer to that question is incredibly far. May as well shoot. Couple of shots from maximum range. Not that I will actually connect or do anything, but that'll be fine. We will slowly get in closer to the enemy target and eventually wear down his shields utilizing the PPD. So maximum speed as we sort of want to trundle on in. We're not really in much of a hurry at the moment. After all, our long-range PPD is kind of explicitly designed for this sort of siege work. Able to get quite a few shots on target despite our longish range. So able to use the very accurate weapon. It's just not very powerful out at this range. We're doing about 4 damage per pulse, which obviously a little less than great, although 4 pulses. So really the PPD in terms of actual raw damage, not so great. It is fairly decent though. Just in terms of a lot of fun that you'll have utilizing it. As you can see, just sort of burning down the shields steadily as we get on closer. Although if we are currently on an edge right here, that'll be less than good, because it means that we're not actually causing support damage all over the place. Alright, prepare to take his shot, because he's going to be firing sometime in the very near future, and I want to be prepared for it. There it is. Okay, so on the speed of time. And fire the PPD. Fire the pseudo. Phasers are ready. Come on, show me your little... There it is. That's even coming in my direction. Lovely. Wait for that thing to pop, and then we'll just fire absolutely everything we've got. And the popping's done. The popping's about to be done, I hope. There it is. Okay, maximum speed of time, because now at this point we're just here to try and grind them down before they get to shoot out again at me. So again, I'd like to use my PPD in more aggressive mode, but I can't really afford the additional time it's going to take for it to charge. Well, what I could do is I could try and run this. PPDs. Yeah, that's not as good as I needed it to be. Guess we're just gonna have to tank the shot. Because he is about to fire another plasma torpedo into my face. At least one would imagine. Well, apparently not. Lovely. On to the last one off there in the distance. Looks like the Lunas Duo has decided he finally wishes to join the battle, although it's going rather slow, but that's kind of Romulan for you. His plasma torpedoes are almost ready to rock and roll. Did you actually deploy? I don't know if you fired a plasma torpedo for maximum range. We're about to find out. Yeah, that did not actually work at all. We're going to accelerate, get ourselves up to speed so we can get in on this action soon, and hopefully support the Lunas Duo in actually destroying the target. He saved a single plasma F torpedo, and I actually do that, so good job there. Even though you probably should have been firing pseudo torpedoes, and maybe use a single F to bait out the pseudo if you didn't want to sort of hang around like the way we do it. But I suppose I can't complain too much. I mean, I could, but I can't. Well, I could. We'll decide on that later. Start to slow down quite a bit because we don't want to deal too much trouble. Fire our pseudo torpedo. And no, he decided to shoot. Okay. He decided to go beam and try and shoot, and that was a big mistake because that allowed us to basically fire for free without having to wait any time at all. So we'll just cruise on into range once again and continue to burn him down. His plasma F torpedo has been destroyed, and there goes a pair of plasmars just in order to finish him completely off. A fleet repair dock mission completely won. Now there, of course, I can't say difficult, but they do take a while. Alright, good work done all around by the Cardassians. 450 prestige is a reward for a job well done, and the Empire defense seems to be a little bit glitchy, but we're going to have to figure out what exactly is going on with that one, because it is a little bit confusing to me. Anyway, I have been Tarek. If you like what you've been seeing, hit that like button and subscribe. If you want to see the notification every time I post one of these videos, press that little bell icon, leave a comment, and I will see you all in the next episode.